This is Andrew Hogue for AndrewHogue.com, Australia's only 24/7 rock metal radio station. I'm here reunited with my good Canadian buddy, Mr. Sam Dunn from Banger Films, and we're going to get a bit of an update from Sam on what's been happening in the world of Banger Films and everything else to do with heavy metal. G'day, Sam. Welcome to AndrewHogue.com.
Good to see you. I think it's been 5 years since we last saw each other, so looking good, buddy.
It's been quite a while. The maiden juggernaut in Australia, was it 2008 or 9? 2008. So many tours. So let's get a bit of an update on what's been happening with you in the world of Banger Films. I know things have just taken off for years, ever since, of course, the unleashing of Headbanger's Journey and obviously Global Metal and Metal Evolution. So just give us a bit of an update on what is happening and what we can expect from you.
Sure. Well, it's 2014 now. It's 10-year anniversary of Banger Films. We started in 2004, so a lot coming up. First of all, our feature documentary Super Duper Alice Cooper is going to be premiering at the Tribeca Film Festival in New York in April. It's the first documentary on the life and career of the mighty Alice Cooper. That's really exciting. We've got a film coming up this year that is on Satan in popular culture, where we explore everything from The Exorcist to Rosemary's Baby to heavy metal to just the hysteria and sometimes misunderstanding around what the devil is, who the devil is, and all of that stuff. And we are also doing a show called Rock Icons, which is 10 half-hour episodes on some of the biggest rock and metal musicians around today, which will be airing early 2015. So, yeah, lots going on.
And what I love about your work and also with Banger Films is that, you know, the fact that you do give these bands the credit that they deserve, because we all know that heavy metal over the years has been so misunderstood a lot of the times from mainstream media, and no matter how much they try to sort of bury it in the ground, it always thrives. And even as you quote at the end of the fantastic Headbanger's Journey that, you know, we're doing a lot better without them. What's your take on, I guess, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and the whole Grammys and things, how, you know, much the music industry has changed, yet so many people still want this music to be acknowledged? Do you think it's important that we still try and get their attention, or just keep going about it our own way and not really care?
You know, I think metal is always going to have one foot in and one foot out in terms of its relationship to the mainstream. You know, I think it's good to see Black Sabbath get a Grammy. I think it's good to see these bands get recognized for the work that they do. And I think that's important. Any creative person will tell you it's good to be recognized for what they do. On the other hand, you know, we know that at the end of the day, metal isn't really mainstream music. So it's never going to become a big part of the popular culture fabric. I mean, it's always going to be on the outside. And so I think that's just the tension that's going to run through for the rest of metal's existence. I don't think that's really going to change. And it might be a healthy thing. It's kind of that bit of that tension back and forth. Is it mainstream? Is it outsider music? And I think that just kind of keeps it going.
Well, we've seen just also in the last 5 years how much the industry has changed, but also the amount of subgenres that are cropping up, it's getting quite ridiculous. And I think at the same time, as much as there's some great bands innovating, I think the segregation seems to be at an all-time high, I think, from a fan perspective. That do you have much hope that people will eventually start to unite a little bit more within the sort of heavy music community, or it's just there's so much variety out there that people can just take what they want and ignore the rest? What's your take on the whole deal?
Well, I think because of the digital revolution in music and film, there's just so much more, and there's nothing we're going to do about that. People have access to technology that they didn't have years ago. We're sitting here in a lobby in California doing an interview on this little unit that's going to broadcast around the world. So that's never going to change. I think that the cream will always rise to the top, and that goes without saying. I think it's even harder now to some extent to sort of see the forest from the trees in the sense of finding good music. But, you know, as far as the segregation goes, that's probably inevitable. I think it'll probably simmer down a bit. I think we're still living in a time where there's just so much kind of excitement and thrill around the idea that we can consume things so quickly. Like, people are kind of drunk with digital booze, you know, in a sense. So I think that we may see that'll taper off a bit, and once that sort of just that initial like excitement passes, that people will just start paying attention to what's ultimately good.
We're in information overload, as you said. Digital drunkenness. It is crazy because there is so much stuff out there, and again, it's at the same time you kind of got to dig deep for the gems as well. Anything you've checked out recently that you think is worthy of us checking out as a listener?
Yeah, absolutely. This is going to sound like a plug for my home country, Canada, but one of my favorite new bands is a band out of Vancouver called Ancients, with two I's in the middle. They're kind of a little bit Opeth, a little bit Mastodon, a little bit Enslaved, so they kind of got this bit of a proggy but also very heavy sound. And it's not just because they're Canadian, because the first time I heard them I didn't know where they were from, but I think they're really, really good. And they've only got one full length out, I think. So this is a young band who, give them some time, I think they'll only get better. So I've been digging those guys big time.
And any plans to return to the native Australia?
Always plans, man. I still got to get there for a holiday. Nothing immediate. I keep knocking on the door of AC/DC to make a film. Someone's got to do it someday. They don't talk to many people, and we haven't cracked that fortress yet, but that's a dream doc for us. Someone's got to do the AC/DC story one day. So if I have to, come to Australia to try and make that happen, I'll be the first guy to do it.
Well, like I said, you've got a great track record of, to me, very honest and integral documentaries that you've done, and I think that's why they're so successful, because they speak from a truthful fan perspective. So, I'll hunt down Angus. Actually, no, he's based in Amsterdam these days. I think Malcolm's based in Sydney or something. Anyway, we'll try and track him down, and let's see if we can make it happen. A couple last words to Australian masses out there, Sam.
To whom?
Australian masses.
Oh, the Australian masses. I thought it was some kind of slang that you were throwing at me there. I want to say thank you to the Australian masses, to those of you who have watched our films at Banger Films. It's been a great 10 years for us, and just pleased that people have enjoyed the way we've approached metal and rock music. And keep flying the flag, because someone's got to do it, and it might as well be you.